Hello people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we talk about 10 Bible accounts that could be interpreted as UFOs or aliens. Many will argue that the Bible, if it is to be taken in any way seriously, is all about interpretation. With that in mind, many who subscribe to the ancient astronaut theory in particular believe the Bible to be awash with UFO encounters and laced with interaction between human beings and extraterrestrials. Indeed, for them, it forms a lot of the basis for their theory. While there is, of course, no proof to be offered to back up these claims, the interpretations and how they are pieced together are fascinating in their own right and certainly worth exploring, if only to ask the question, what if our ancestors really were describing encounters with intelligent beings not of this world? Number 1 is the birth, life, and death of Christ. Perhaps the most famous Bible story of them all, the birth of Jesus Christ, is said by some to be jam-packed with references to spaceships and alien visitors. Whatever the true origins of the story, where its roots lie, and what the actual interpretation might have been, if you are someone who is looking to discover alien activity in the Bible, then this is an account that will possibly have you chomping at the bit. Mary discovering she is miraculously pregnant, for example, is often looked upon by some in the UFO field as an ancient description of an alien abduction, with the implanting of a fetus in Mary's womb and instructions given to her under the guise of God. Number 2 is Ezekiel's wheel. Certain verses in the book of Ezekiel have lines that could be interpreted as UFO experiences. Perhaps the most well-known of these is the account of Ezekiel's wheel, 9, which appears to describe a metallic object arriving from the sky. The first verse, for example, states that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. Verse 16 speaks of a description of a gleaming object that appeared to be a wheel within a wheel. Many reports of UFOs in contemporary times speak of the craft being made of circles spinning, sometimes in opposite directions to each other, leading many researchers to suggest this is some kind of propulsion system. Number 3 is the parting of the Red Sea before Moses could lead the Exodus that we looked at earlier in the list. He, of course, had to break free from his Egyptian enslavers, and part of that story is the parting of the Red Sea, 8, which allowed the Israelites to cross to safety before the waters came crashing down on the Egyptian soldiers in pursuit. Many ancient astronaut theorists have no doubt that the Exodus itself was guided by alien intelligence, so it is perhaps no surprise that they interpret a similar involvement in the parting of the Red Sea in order to allow Moses and the Israelites safe passage. Given that verse 16 speaks of Moses stretching out his hand, which caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind, it is easy to see why some perceive this to be the use of alien or advanced technology. Number 4 is Zechariah, the flying scroll in the opening verses of Zechariah 5:7, a description of a flying object. The length thereof is 20 cubits and the breadth thereof 10 cubits has been subject to claims of a UFO sighting. It is described as a flying scroll, some versions describe it as a flying roll, and it appears to be something that both appeared quickly. I looked again and there before me was a flying scroll and was quite the sight to behold. Number 5 is the sons of God. Perhaps one of the more convincing references to interaction between humans and extraterrestrials in the Bible is to be found in the opening 4 verses of Genesis 6: when man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. 6 The verses then go on to speak of how the daughters of man bore giant Nephilim children to the sons of God. Number 6 is the angels at Sodom and Gomorrah. The entire incident of Sodom and Gomorrah 5, in Genesis 19 could be argued to be an example of an account of advanced nuclear technology being used to level 2 sinful cities. Verse 26 speaks of Lot's wife looking back and of how she became a pillar of salt. Then, verse 28 describes how Abraham views the ruined city. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. That's bizarrely similar to how a description of a nuclear explosion might look. No. 7 is ascension of Elijah 4, being taken by the Lord up to heaven, in a chariot of fire no less, is seen by some as an example of not only a nuts and bolts spacecraft but of an alien abduction, to boot. The main reasoning given for such an interpretation is simply that the term chariot of fire was used, as it was the only description available to those who, supposedly, witnessed this apparently most fascinating of encounters. Note 8 is the Exodus. The entire account of the Exodus, 3, including the burning bush story, has many verses which could be seen to be describing extraterrestrial intervention in human affairs. The pillar of smoke by day and bright fire by night that guided the Israelites through the endless desert is sometimes perceived to have been an alien god of sorts, as is the machine used to produce the manna with which they sustained themselves. And we have written before here on list verse about theories that the Ark of the Covenant was not only very real but possibly of extraterrestrial design. No 9 is let us make mankind. The lines in Genesis 1:2, describing the making of mankind have drawn attention from ancient astronaut enthusiasts looking to show that human beings were not the result of an almighty God but rather of genetic manipulation performed by advanced beings not of this planet. In short, aliens. The words us and our in the line, let us make man in our image, have been seized upon in some corners as the smoking gun of the text. To them, this is not only a reference to the creators of human beings being plural, suggesting a group of creators, but in all likeliness, an indication that they looked a lot, if not exactly, like us. Number 10 is Jacob's Ladder. The story of Jacob's Ladder 1 has many interpretations. It involves Jacob, who while on his way to Haran, decided to stop and sleep for the evening because the sun had gone down. While he slept, he had an intense dream of angels of God who were ascending and descending upon a stairway resting on the earth, with its top reaching into heaven. As Jacob watched the angels, a voice rang out, and Jacob could see that the Lord stood above him in the heavens.